Hey everybody, welcome back to Northern Lion Plays The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. Embarrassing admission, the streak is at 5 because I'm an idiot and accidentally recorded an episode, except I didn't record it. I got 35 minutes into it, looked over at OBS, and it was like, hey, do you want to start your recording? And I was like, yeah, I thought I sent you that message like 35 minutes ago. The good news is, you missed like a semi-boring run. It was a run that wasn't particularly interesting. It was just an easy-ish win. Hopefully this will be better. NFMD, MEVX. We got Monster Manuel. We have Serpent's Kiss Ataka. It's probably like cringeworthy at this point, but I'm still gonna say it every single time because it just sounds like it could be the alternate title for like every Indiana Jones movie. Or every Sherlock Holmes case on the BBC as well. I mean, I'm not really apologizing for this, but I'll apologize for the inconvenience that my voice might be a little bit shot. I'm a little under the weather. I think, you know, convention after convention after convention, people finally managed to infect me with a pathogen that my body was like, all right, enough's enough. Take some time, get well. I'm not actually, you know, like laid up in bed or anything like that. Just a little bit of a sore throat and feeling a little weak. Hopefully it doesn't get much worse tomorrow. But for today, I'm good. Today's like day 0 of the sickness where you're like, man, tomorrow I'm either going to be 100% or I'm going to be like 25%. So let's enjoy it. I just walked right into that fire. Let's enjoy it while it lasts. And honestly, the game's being really kind right now. To give me Serpent's Kiss allows me to honestly make mistakes and not really be penalized for it. So hopefully this becomes an easy win that's also enjoyable as a result of the fact that we also have one of the like primary ingredients in any synergy is stacked up right beside it. Spoonbender. That was a very dangerous dodge. Is one of those items that you're always like, you know, it's never unwarranted. If I was to make a culinary metaphor for all you culinary-minded folks out there, it'd be like sriracha for some people. Some people are like, doesn't matter what I'm consuming. Doesn't matter if it's, you know, pizza, soup, sandwiches. I'm all about that sriracha game. You know, they'll put it on anything. I, you know, disagree with that to some extent, but I like sriracha. It has its place in certain situations. I agree. Like in a nice Vietnamese noodle soup, it's got it going on. But, either way, it's kind of like that. You're never like, homing tears is not fun here. Usually it's good, and even when it's bad, you're like, at least it's kind of funny bad. Bombs, please? No bombs. So, you won't be able to get that tinted rock, because I do want to have the chance at an arcade on the next floor, just for, you know, entertainment's sake. Curse of the Blind is actually pretty bad right now. Because the first deal with the devil is a little bit of a milestone. You know, it's like, ooh, yeah, we gotta check this. Spider Butt. At least we have a spacebar item now. No offense meant to Monster Manuel, but, you know, it's pretty bad. I am relatively okay with Spider Butt. I do think that, and by the way, this is not to say that the community is wrong, but I would rate the item lower than I think the community does. I think the community would probably be like, this is a 5, and I'd be like, this is a 3 for me personally. It's okay. It has its use, but, and you know the best thing about it? It charges really quickly. There's nothing worse, like the 1 and 2 and maybe even 0 out of 10 items are the ones that are like, it's pretty bad and it takes forever to charge. At least Spider Butt charges quickly enough to, you know, not be bummed out. We got like 8 bombs from a single chest there. That is a little silly. I love it. Well worth a single key for sure. But yeah, Spider Butt, it's okay. That would be a cool series sometime that I'll promise but never do. Is you know, my ratings of items on a scale that's like codified, because I have a great respect for rubrics. A 3 out of 10 is not unusable. It's just, you know, almost like, let's just put it this way, 70% of spacebar items in the game might be better. Would I still put Spider Butt down there? Maybe. The Common Cold, it's a perfect item. Hopefully that's what I got right now. I mean, hopefully I got nothing. I just got a, you know, dry throat, but don't even give me your homemade cure for a dry throat, by the way, because that sounds like I'm just asking for trouble. We'll try that. Hoping for Small Rock, but Key and Spirit Heart is well worth the investment, especially now that we're bomb rich. Sounds like a country music band. Okay, we're up to 13 cents. Bad trip sucks, but it's not the end of the world. We're definitely in a position where we could get something from the shop on this floor. Let's just finish off and see what we get in our deal with the devil. But the first floor, the first deal with the devil really is an important moment in the life of any young Isaac game. You know, we want to make sure that we're getting something that gives us a head start. It's like picking where you're going to go to college. You know, it's also important to do well in college. It's important to major in something that you're passionate about, maybe as an intersection with a, you know, opening in the job market, etc., etc. But it's kind of like that, you know, it sets the tone for the rest of the run. If we get 3 red chests, it's like we went to a college and then after a semester we were like, I'm not really feeling it, and then we left to figure out something else, and that's okay. If we get brimstone, it's like we're, you know, pre-med at Harvard and we're top of our class. Right off the bat. If we get Krampus, I don't even know. It's like, you know, we got a full ride scholarship for lacrosse, but then our dad's like, hey, Slugger, want to take over the drywall business? And you're like, oh, I don't know. They both seem like they have viable options here. So we get Betrayal. Fuck it, I'll go for it. Pentagram. Well worth it, in my opinion. Betrayal kind of sucks. I think that item doesn't have a lot of useful conditions for it, but I do like Pentagram, and I think ideal way to handle that deal with the devil is Pentagram only. We got the second best outcome, which is pretty okay. We'll take a Spirit Heart out of this, and you know what? Donation machine's at a pretty nice equilibrium. Really lucky on the explosion there. 15 cents, we get 9 volt. Okay, now, this might take Spider Butt from like a 3 to a 5. We get to use it every single room. It's gonna slow enemies and do a little bit of damage. It's not bad at all. A little concerned about HP, but apart from that, DPS is pretty good. Damage in particular is really good, thanks to Synth Oil. And Common Cold helping out a little bit, although I guess it gets overrun by Serpent's Kiss, now that I think about it. We just hope that we don't take enough damage. This feels like an XL floor, by the way, but we hope that we don't take enough damage on this floor to possibly outpace the Demon Hearts that we get from Serpent's Kiss. It's not an XL floor, wow. But that's a little bit up to the luck stats, so we'll see about that. Very small damage upgrade, and also, you know, progress towards the fungus transformation as a result of Fat Odd Mushroom. I think all things considered, I usually prefer Skinny Odd Mushroom, but Fat Odd Mushroom is usually welcome as well. Try a bomb here. It looks like it could be a secret room, and it is. We also just got I Can See Forever, so even though I made a good decision there, time made me look like a fool. I think we will look for our second secret room, which we found immediately, and then pretty lucky to get Spider Butt to work for us here. I just want half of a red heart, really. Okay, be careful what you wish for. I want half a red heart so that we can actually take a deal with the devil that costs red hearts instead of spirit hearts, if we get one. But I'd settle for Krampus here, considering the odds are we're probably not going to get anything at all from a deal with the devil. So I think I want to use Spider Butt when he does his shooting attack, because these are easy enough to dodge, and it probably doesn't make much of a difference in the fight against the Stain to begin with, but at least we can slow down. No, it didn't slow down his shots at all, so that's, I mean, it's the mildest of misplays, but at least we learned a very, very minute piece of information about the game. Pageant Boy with a nickel takes us to probably within striking distance of an item, and then we get Krampus. I thought maybe, just maybe, I managed to get ourselves enough time with Spider Butt to get out of the way, but Lump of Coal, please. Yes, okay, Lump of Coal is really nice in pretty much every situation. See if we can get something a little bit more dramatic here. Yeah, you know what? I'm being very rude to our donation machine, and I'll admit that readily. But car battery plus 9 volt plus Spider Butt seems like we might be able to now have like an overpowered Necronomicon sort of situation going on that could actually take this from a 5 out of 10 to like a 9 out of 10. Like Tammy's Head Death's Touch level or something like that. It looks like it's not quite killing enemies, at least like champion enemies in one hit, but it's certainly getting close. Close enough that I think like if we got Toxic Shock or something like that, we might be able to just walk in, press spacebar, and clear most non-boss rooms without having to worry about it. Like this is a really fun setup. I mean, we're doing a lot of damage ourselves here, but the spacebar synergies we got going on here. I mean, it just goes to show you that an Isaac, you know, even an item that's pretty bad can surprise you in the right circumstances. And it's not just, obviously, it's not just Spider-Butt doing it, but still, like... you know, take the hit on this one. We didn't take the hit on that one, and I'm happy for it, but if we had taken the hit, I would have been okay. The Magician is a worthless card, to the best of my knowledge here. I don't think it gives you, like, super homing or something, so... Just wanted to see if we can get Magic Mush, which we didn't. Alright, well, I mean... We'll see how this goes. I think I'll definitely take the left hand. We have no other trinkets. We'll see how this goes. I think that Boss Rush and actually, like, doing Boss Rush could be conceivable here, considering how often we're going to get a charge for a pretty potent Spider-Butt. This is a cool setup that I'm happy to have, you know. The classic is always, like, Tammy's Head Brimstone. You walk into a room, press space, and everything melts, but this is a bit of a novel approach that I'm happy to see. Don't remember what our HP is like for Red Hearts, so I'll probably stay away from that for now. But I know that we're in a good spot for Spirit Hearts, at least temporarily here. So I'll go until we get the 6th payout on this guy, and then we'll see, you know, how our life looks after that. And that's good, I think. We got Experimental Treatment, which immediately feels like it's lowered my damage. However, it takes us closer to Spun, so I think it's possible that it's a blessing in disguise. It also gave us a little bit of better rate of fire, and I think better shot speed, although whether... Oh, do I still get the charge? I do. Whether or not, you know, shot speed actually is better for us with Lump of Coal, I don't know. So I'm going to take Curse of the Tower. That's my zany pick right now. I don't think it's very good. I think it's actually a bad decision to pick this up. I think it's one of the items that could kill you on a run, but because the run is so assured right now... We want piercing shots. Because the run is so assured right now, I want to take something that keeps me sharp. And, as we saw right there, we will have to be sharp in order to get out of this without facing too much trouble. Okay, we'll leave and come back. I like this, and I genuinely believe this. I think there is merit in doing things the hard way. Sometimes. You know, they always say, oh, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't reinvent the wheel. I've always said that. That's gonna hurt. People say don't reinvent the wheel, and I accept that. I understand that. I think if you're just trying to get something done that needs to get done, you don't want to be like, okay, I gotta vacuum the house. Let's invent a vacuum cleaner. But sometimes when the mood strikes you, you should try to invent that vacuum cleaner because it's gonna teach you something. You know, there's merit in doing things the easy way sometimes too, which I think a lot of people lose sight of. But sometimes doing things the hard way can teach you something. It gives you some respect too. You know, like I remember when I first started to learn programming, and I'm gonna make this as universally understandable as I can, and I think it should be. I was learning Java, and we learned about this thing called array lists. And array lists are basically like, consider like a deck of cards. That's an array list of cards. You know, you could have a deck of cards that only has 30 cards. You could have a deck of cards that has, like, it has 52. You could have one that has 54 with jokers or something. It expands and shrinks based on the number that are in it. Maybe a little bit of a bad example, but forgive me here. Or it's like a pack of Magic cards, you know? It could have 13, it could have 14, it could have 12, depending on how things go. And I was like, this language is so stupid. Eclipse is a dumb IDE. That's so why does it work like this? It should work like this. And then we had an in-class assignment that was like, write the array list functionality from scratch. And as I sat there for 2 hours being like, what the fuck am I doing here? You realize that some of the things that you complain about were actually made by literal geniuses. And I think that's the value of doing things the hard way. You know, it's not to say that you can never criticize someone until you've, you know, been able to do what they've done and do it better. But I think about that sometimes when I'm like, you know, driving my car and I'm like, oh, dang speech recognition software doesn't know what I said Burnaby, it thinks I said Coquitlam, you know? And then I think about it, I'm like, man, maybe, you know, I should try to work that out myself, and then I might have a new appreciation for how difficult it is to get it even to that level of functionality. At least those cities are adjacent. Shout out to all my, you know, greater Vancouver metropolitan area minded folks out there. I should have been hit there. Well, I guess one way to never have to suffer from Curse of the Tower is to just never get hit in the first place. I think that that is working out pretty nicely for us. Oh, that's bullshit. I had Fate. Just because Fate hadn't internalized itself yet, I get hit. I take great issue with that, Edmund and Tyrone. I picked up the item. What was it? It was synthesizing into my genetic code before cellular replication. As a result, I didn't get the value out of it. I think not. I think not. Okay, we got too many bombs. This is real bad. Okay, we're safe. We're safe. We're not safe. Get out. This is good. This is good. And then again, that's not to say that doing things the easy way doesn't have merit either. You know, if I had to get that assignment in within 10 minutes, I'd be like, oh, fuck it, you know. Stack Overflow helped me out, but sometimes there's a value in learning how to do something instead of just learning how it's done. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it sounded kind of pithy in a way that I actually, like, appreciated. Let's take our 15th cent. Curse Room, absolutely, we'll give it a shot. Like, pretty unlikely that it's gonna have a demonstrably horrible effect on our run. I always like when you get these, like, really unique win conditions in Isaac. Like, in this one, this is one I don't think I've genuinely ever seen before, is Spider Butt just buffed to shit so that it's actually functional. Mind you, this would work for a variety of different spacebar items that have 2 charges, or 2 room charges. Man, 2020 is really good too. But still, this is a cool setup. I like it. I would still, I mean, I'd like to get an arcade on the next floor, but a shop might be more fun and also relevant. Yeah, okay. So, you know what we're gonna do now. We are gonna try a Diplopia boss rush into, well, I guess if Blank Rune is Yera, we would rather do it on the chest, but we'll probably try to Diplopia boss rush. I've got to subject myself to the, you know, the fires of Mordor, right? People make fun of me for the way that I handle... We're so far ahead of schedule. People make fun of me for the way that I handle Diplopia. We gotta practice and learn how to handle Diplopia, you know? There's no point in shying away from something just because we did it wrong, you know, 20 or 30 times. Let's learn how to do it right. You know what to do. By the way, I might be a little quiet. I'm not trying to rest my voice. I'm just trying to, you know, be a little kinder to it. So I turned the game down a little bit, but it's possible it might be overpowering me somewhat. Let me know in the comments, you know. Earlier I know, the more agility with which I have to fix it. So we're gonna be at basically borderline full HP. I think that's fantastic news. Coming into boss rush where we actually could, you know, face some adversity. I am going to... I'll look for the second secret room, but apart from that, we're going straight into boss rush at this point. Well, not straight into it. We need the item room and, you know, possibly the shop as well on the next floor, but... There's still a lot on this run that could help me, but there's not a lot that we need to help us, and that's dope. By the way, by the way, getting rid of... Ooh, I made it. Getting rid of our cool win condition, which might annoy you, but this just shows you how much I believe in the power of Diplopia to change our run for the more absurd. Not just make it better, but to make it better, 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 na 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 na. Not the first choice for karaoke most of the time. Whatever. We got 4 demon hearts on the last room. I'm not gonna sweat this. So, Book of Shadows is, in my opinion, one of the best items in the game. Spacebar item-wise. That's definitely, like, at least a 7, as far as spacebar items go. We also, I should have pointed out, we have car batteries, so Diplopia should actually do a double doubling. That's not a misspeaking, by the way. It should double our doubling. So instead of getting 1 copy of everything on boss rush, we'll get 2. I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I was gonna say, like, I think our math checks out there, but I'm really kind of running it in my head, because I'm like, will we get 2 or will we get 4? Is it going to double it once, and then double that doubling? Or is it going to double it twice at exactly the same time? Help. Yeah, that was a bummer. And in the end, it doesn't really matter. It'll make boss rush a little bit more finicky depending on how we choose to handle it, or depending on how it handles it in general. My assumption is that we'll have 4 items on boss rush, we'll use Diplopia, and then we'll have 12 items on boss rush. But it's conceivable we could have 16. if it doubles it and then doubles that again. But remember, they're going to be 16 of the same items. So really the only ones that benefit us are passives. Passives that we want. And then we take those and they become new items. Or we don't take them and then their effects will get, you know, doubled or quadrupled. So it might sound confusing. It's not. It's either going to get multiplied by 2 or by 4 when we come in here. Or, sorry, it's going to get multiplied by 3 or by 4, actually. But you'll see. We'll see. I'm going to learn along with you here, because I don't know what the heck's happening. I've probably done this before, but I've forgotten. You know, there's a lot of little Isaac intricacies to keep in your brain's hard drive on a regular basis. We'll take the Polaroid. If this is still open when we leave, I'll definitely take Mega. But that's like a 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 item for sure. All right, so I think well, let's use it first. It only gave us 1 copy. It just doesn't work with car battery, I guess. What do we want 2 versions of? Well, definitely not the D10. So whatever we want 2 versions of, we take on the inside. And I think we take probably 2 versions of Odd Mushroom. And then we'll take 1 other Odd Mushroom. We'll take 1 Dunce Cap. And we'll take 1 Leo. And then you do that, and we got Hagalaz out of it. So our rate of fire should have drastically increased. Our, I feel like I just got hit by an explosion and not affected. Our rate of fire should drastically increase. It's going to be slightly harder to hit enemies. Normally, it would be a lot harder to hit enemies, but only slightly this time because of the fact that we have homing tiers. So if we're close enough to the enemy, all of our shots are going to hit anyway. But we also have 20/20, so we got like a weird sort of like we're shooting 4 shots out of our face at any given moment sort of thing going on. They're harder to hit with, but pretty good. I think maybe 2 Odd Mushrooms lowered our damage more than I would have liked, considering Dunce Cap maybe put us to the tier cap already. So that's a, I'm basically just theory crafting, but I feel like that's maybe a little bit of a mistake on our part. Our damage just isn't as good as I thought it would be. I also thought we would get the fungus transformation. We'd get like a free HP for doing things in the order we did them, but I guess if you do them on the same room, or even if it's just the same item, it doesn't count. Like, what if you get 2 9 lives on a run? Does that... It definitely gives you 18 lives. And you can get the second one from like a super lust. I think. It's one of the super enemies. I think it's super lust. But, or ultra lust, or, it doesn't matter. So I'm just wondering, like, I guess it maybe duplicate copies of items don't contribute to transformations. It's almost like it's ticking off like a list instead of just like counting the number of enemies or the number of items that have this criteria associated with them. It's understandable. We're doing fine here, by the way. Like, this run is still really good. And it's, although I will admit that it was a bit of a mistake to get rid of Spider Butt, and it turns out that the Spider Butt synergy that we had was really cool. This is still a weird enough run that I'm not, like, overtly salty over it or anything. Although I am bummed that Diplopia doesn't work with car battery. That just seems like something that, you know, sometimes there'll be a decision like that, and you go, well, like, I don't agree with it, but I understand why they did it. This is just one of those things where you're like, is this a mistake? Also, am I immune to explosions? No, I've been hit by my own bombs several times. Why am I must be just, like, underestimating or overestimating the size of the hitboxes, because I'll tell you what, Dunce Cap 2020 is a really nice way to fight the bloat. You stand, like, exactly in the spots where he cannot hit you. That's extremely kind. I don't know how we didn't get hit there either, but I'll take it. We should be getting fairly close to the end here. Boss Rush, it's just so much more fun than the Hush fight, man. You get a lot of variety. You get that feeling of incremental progress more than you do when you fight Hush. You get the prospect of items, both, like, you get a reward for trying, and then you get a reward for finishing as well. I love Boss Rush so much more than the Hush fight. But probably I love Boss Rush a little too much. I love Boss Rush, so put 20 minutes in the jukebox, baby. Doesn't make any sense, but, you know. There'll probably be some people like, that's the funniest joke of the episode. You gotta take what you can get, man. And I'm not gonna do You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet, okay? That's a retired meme. That's a retired NL meme. Okay, let's... D10's another item. I got a bone to pick. But, I've been over that one several times before. So we don't necessarily need to do it again. But why doesn't it... Just let it reroll bosses. Oh, it'd make the game too easy. Yeah, it's not like people are popping off, you know, like 500 streaks on the regular anyway. It would make the game too easy. You got me. Let's get out of here. We got piercing shots without a speed boost. So we got Cupid's Arrow. Not very good, honestly, because we already had piercing shots from Dead Onion. But it makes our shots look like poison Doritos, so I'm okay with that. We also get Spider Bite, which is a really cool tier effect. And by really cool, I mean... You know, not really that cool, but very good at least. It's not like it's a bad tier effect or, like, frustrating. It's actually just, it's quite nice. Spider Bite is one of those items that you pretty much are always going to be relatively happy to have. I can't think of a situation in which I'd be like, oh, Spider Bite, that sucks. And if you've got one, I'd love to hear it. But if it ends up being like, well, what if you're fighting this boss and he's moving away from you and then you hit him with a Spider Bite tier, but he's moving away from you more slowly as a result of the applied status effect, and then as a result of that, you tried to dodge, but you dodged into him because you misrepresented or, you know, your dodge was miscalculated based on his speed. And if you get into that point, look, it's universally good. Sure, well, what if the space program's bad because the supervillain harnesses all the shared information that we learn as a result of it? I get it. You know, there's like a one Doomsday-esque scenario where like bad things can happen, but come on, it's universally good. I forgot we had Stompy. I mean, we literally just got it, and then on the room that we got it, we used a Hagalaz rune and crushed everything. We'll take that. We got an outside chance at Guppy still because of the left hand. So I think to spice this up a little bit, we're gonna use D10 on every room that we can use it on. So every room without a boss. I mean, there's nothing to stop us using it on bosses, but it's unlikely to provide us with much of a benefit. This will ruin our cool run. So you know what? No, thank you. Mom's Knife. I mean, it's one of the nice situations for me because it not only ruins the run, in terms of like probably being as enjoyable as it is right now, but it also makes it worse. So one of the weird situations in which not taking Mom's Knife is the right decision for like basically every conceivable reason. It would be less entertaining and less good. And some of you will probably be like, thank you, NL, for not taking Mom's Knife. So I get like the easiest little bit of street cred. They're like, look at that. There's that run where you didn't take Mom's Knife. And I'll be like, hell yeah. But in my head, I'm going, that would have been the wrong decision to begin with. All right, well, free Chariot card and a 4-room. I'm going to be real with you. The odds of me getting value from this 4-room are not high. The only guaranteed item pedestal on this floor is, well, not even guaranteed, but a deal with the devil. It's possible we could have had other opportunities to get one, but like this boss trap room, for example. And if that ends up being the case, then I will lament my short-sightedness a little bit. And I'm not afraid to admit that. You know, I make rash decisions sometimes that end up being incorrect when new things come to light. This is really good, actually. Oh, never mind. We're just going to blow them all up. So I'm just going to protect myself here. I'm also going to blow you up. But I'm going to grab this to get to a half-heart interval. Play you once. You will probably explode as a result now. Actually got 2 plays out of it, though. You know, I didn't really want the money, but I figured why not give it a shot. Now we can go into this room. Down here. Why blow up the Judgment? Better deal with the devil chance. And red chest. It's worth going for. Even though it didn't work out, I stand by. If you're going for Guppy, 1 red chest is worth fighting for. I don't think that's the least bit controversial. We're done with this. Are we on... It's Womb 2. So Hush is definitely plausible, but I mean, you guys didn't see it, but I fought Hush in the last run. That didn't go up because I didn't hit the record button, so... In that video, I kind of go off a little bit. I'm like, man, this Hush fight is so boring. Why do I even fight Hush? So stupid. I didn't go quite that, like, to that level of moroseness, but I was still like, you know, there's no point for me to do this. On some runs, it can be fun to fight Hush, especially if you've got, like, an endlessly refillable shop, thanks to restock, you know, double Steam sale or something, but, ooh, baby, I love your way. Apart from that, I'm like, I think I may tone down the Hush fights a little bit. If I'm being real, like, the only reason I do Hush fights is because it adds, like, a little bit more uncertainty that the run's gonna be a win. Which I think is good for viewership, but it's also, like, super artificial. Like, I want to do risky things that are fun. I don't want to just do risky things that are, like, risky. Sure, why don't we just go, every time you go down to the womb, you have to blow yourself up with a bomb. Why? Because it lowers your chances of winning. I think I'm not saying I'm deliberately gonna cut back on the Hush fight, but I think I'm gonna try to let absurdity govern the situation of when the Hush fight is appropriate. Right, I forgot to use this on every room, by the way. Hard habit to get into. Using a spacebar item on every room. What am I, this snap or something? But I think I'm gonna try to only go to the Hush fight when I think it would actually be fun. Not just, like, because what's going on in my head is, oh, I think the viewers will call me a little bitch. And it's not really that I'm worried about being called a little bitch. It's that I think that, you know, it'll be entertaining. But I think, honestly, it's just not some of the time. A lot of the time. The Hush is, I mean, it's a welcome addition to the game. It adds a little bit of difficulty on top, especially for challenges like, you know, with the Lost and the Keeper. But apart from that, cool little Easter egg. Doesn't need to be in once every second run. But, you know, that's the reason the comments are there, too. If you disagree, you should let me know. And if you don't disagree, you should definitely like the video. You should subscribe. Buy my t-shirts on patreon.com/t-shirts. Buy my Patreon on kickstarter.com/buymypatreon.fig. I want your funding, FIG. It's an industry joke. I'm waiting for, like, the last red chest. The last guppy piece that carries us to complete guppy greatness here. Dude, getting down to a half heart was like the smartest thing I ever did on this run. Now I'm basically immune to Curse of the Tower. The times just overlap, like, perfectly. Ooh, Tinted Rock. I would love Small Rock. Those guys are bosses, I guess, technically. By the way, taking a lot of stupid damage. We still have, Blood of the Serpent, which is not the name of it. But Serpent's Kiss. You know, I'm done with Serpent's Kiss. We're calling it Blood of the Serpent now. Now we're doing, Liberty Cap. Because the left hand, it served its purpose. We could have taken it down and then, like, you know, tried to become Guppy. I like doing that, but I like it more when it happens by accident. And I genuinely remembered this time. I was like, we gotta get rid of this. And it's a shame this might be one of the situations in which it's actually advisable to take that left hand down to the chest. Or not. You know, it really could go either way. It's a gamble. But I'd give us, like... I mean, let me put it this way. I'd probably give us about a 95% chance of winning any run as soon as we press the spacebar to start it. Do I think that this run is better than average or worse than average at this point? I think it's probably better than average by a little bit. So I'll say that we got like a 97.5% chance of winning this one. I think that's reasonable. We got all the tools we need to succeed. We just need to actually, you know, pilot them to the finish. But on the chest, it's usually like, if you think you've won going down to the chest, you've usually won, unless, you know something that's gonna go the other way. We didn't get a lot to help us here. Where did that first deter... Oh, because of car battery. We actually got a full HP upgrade there. So down here, there's no reason at all to have the D10, because we very rarely fight enemies who are not bosses. We're just hoping for luck, and we're hoping for a lot of chests, and we're hoping to run into enemies for, like, no reason. But Gimpy paid out anyway, so... Again, just another engine to kind of generate more Spirit Hearts for us. That time I was outsmarted. You got me good that time. Wow, okay. Sure, you got me again. We still got a Demon Heart out of it. We got a red chest anyway. It didn't pay out. Didn't pay out with Guppy, at least. If we were looking for Troll Bombs, we would have been stoked. We would have said thanks for the troll bombs. That's exactly what we're looking for. But, you know, in what mixed up parallel universe is that a common situation? I let that enemy walk into me like an idiot. Either way, you finish this room, you get one full red heart upgrade. Wow! Okay, brain. Oh, I'm sick. I'm feeling a little under the weather. Yo, great granddad out there on the, you know, savannah. You know, he felt sick. He still managed to continue his genetic line, okay? So we're gonna win this video game to honor our ancestors, who every single one of them had a harder life than me. So I'm not gonna let them down by not having the mental fortitude to win a dang video game that I'm favored to win here. Let's just stop taking dumb damage, okay? I think that that's probably true. I mean, even like, let's say that you're the great-great-grandson of like King George in England. All right, I don't know, because King George, you know, it's a complicated metaphor because he was the leader during the First World War, and it's all sorts of, you know, like maybe that was awful, you know? And, you know, the king still had power back then, probably had a cushy life, but at the same time, you know, had a lot of responsibility, a lot of people looking to him for what to do, right? But let's say your great-great-grandfather was like the ruler of a nation in the 1910s. Do you think your life now, if you're living like an average North American or Western European life, or even, you know, whatever country you live in, do you think that your life is easier than your hypothetical king great-grandfather's was? Because I'm thinking, like, sure, never had to worry about money, probably, super rich. I'm kind of glossing over the fact they might have to worry about national security and, you know, like coups and assassination attempts and stuff like that, but basically I'm getting at, like, would you rather be turbo wealthy in 1910 and know you're missing out on the internet? Or would you rather be, like, living a normal life right now? I don't know. I think I might rather be in a normal life right now. Like, it might sound absurd, but I think if you're like, would you rather be crazy wealthy? I'll give you a time machine. You got two options. Continue living your life right now, or go back in time to, like, the 10th century and be crazy wealthy. I think I would rather just have my average life right now. Same thing, like, would you rather go back to, you know, the year 400 BC and be like a Persian emperor or an Achaemenid empire, or, sorry, what am I trying to say here? An Abyssinian emperor? Would you rather be the Abyssinian emperor knowing that you missed out on, like, the pleasures of modern day life? Or would you rather just have an average life right now? Assuming that, you know, those were your options and you knew. Like, obviously, if you were given the choice, if you're like, wait, you're going to send me back to be, like, a dope-ass emperor, and you're not, like, you're going to erase my memory so I don't know that I'm missing out on the age of dank memes, you'd be like, hell yeah, dude, sign me up. No, but you got to live with that knowledge for the rest of your life. That you'd be talking to someone and you'd be like, man, who was the guest star as the dentist in that one episode of Seinfeld? And you would just have to, like, live your whole life never knowing that it was Bryan Cranston. Because you wouldn't have any ability to look it up. Unless you just remembered it to begin with. So, I don't know. It's an interesting question. And if you would go back and trade, how far back would you go back and trade? Would you go back, like, all the way? What if you're going back to, like, you know, the Neolithic Revolution? Would you rather be the chief of your, you know, proto-human, I guess they were just humans, but, like, would you rather be the Homo erectus emperor, or would you rather live a normal life now? It was pretty dope, yeah, you know, you got all the pleasures of being the chief, including hunting down woolly mammoths, etc., but if you ever stub your toe and get an infection, there's like an 80% chance you die. Anyway, this is a weird episode. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.